Okay, next up, Carnevale. So we're giving away the 2-player starter set. It is now available on pre-order.
Yeah.
So the starter set features the Guild and the Rashar.
If you take a look there's everything you're getting in the set.
Isn't that insane, the amount that's in that? And it comes with a whole bunch of items. Like there's terrain in there, there's the gondola in there, there's the tiles in there, there's a full rulebook in there, the dice, tokens, templates. It is an absolutely fabulous system.
Yeah.
The Vatican, the Vatican and the Doctors are out as well as the additional warbands.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of additional warbands for the game that have already been included in there. So as well as the ones that would have existed as part of core Carnevale back in the day, they've also got the ones from the expansion in there too. So you've got the Vatican and the Strigoi. So you've got the sort of vampire faction and the sort of holy warriors as well, which is really cool. As a lot of people already know, TTCombat have done a lot of work going back to these miniatures and bringing them to life and sort of making them not only look good in sort of like a new way, but also tying them into the old sculpts as well. So there's a really nice degree of sort of comparison between the two, which is really good. And yeah, it's just been really nice to see TTCombat get around to the stage of releasing all this stuff. A lot of people have said they've been very, very communicative on their Kickstarter. They've been always in there sort of answering people's questions and stuff. So it's really nice to see a Kickstarter get from start to finish and now be available in web stores for people to actually start playing Carnevale again. Which was a really fun game that I know, obviously, Sam, you really enjoy. So.
I love Carnevale. It's genuinely one of the best miniatures games I've played.
Yeah,
maybe up there with Middle Earth.
There's also terrain upgrades
there are,
as well to replace the wooden cardboard buildings with MDF buildings.
Yeah, so the guys at TTCombat, a lot of people will know that TTCombat themselves do an amazing range of MDS stuff. They do it for a whole bunch of different sort of historical periods, sci-fi, fantasy, and the like as well. But a lot of the buildings that you see included in that starter set can also be upgraded into a lot of their sort of footprints in MDF as well. So if you want something a little bit more detailed that you want to put a little bit more work into, and you want to step up above what you would get in a normal sort of starter set that just wants to sort of, get you ready to play the game, and you want to make something a little bit more exciting and stuff and really bring the canals of Venice to life, then there's definitely some options there in MDF as well.
Yeah, that Venetian tower just is incredible. I love the look of that. I think it's a fabulous terrain.
They actually said they've reworked the Venetian tower a bit. They were saying, because of course we had the TTCombat guys in recently, they were saying they've reworked that to make it a bit more playable, make it a bit more
very cool.
usable in the game.
With it. Well, Sam, you had a chance to sit down with TTCombat.
I did indeed, yes. Carnevale is in the process of launching. I was a Kickstarter backer, so it was great to sit down with Lewis and Jason and find out what state the game is now and what changes have been made. Hello everyone, I'm joined by Lewis and Jason from TTCombat.
Hi Sam.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Not bad, yourself? Yeah, really good.
I'm really excited because, of course, this time you've brought with you one of my favourite miniatures games, Carnevale. I can't wait to hear what's been happening in the streets of Venice.
It's been a long time coming now. We've had the license for quite a while. Been working hard at it. It's good to finally get it out to the public.
Yeah. This is currently launching, and I absolutely love it. We've already we filmed the Let's Play, so that's coming out soon.
Just rub that in there.
No spoilers. Yeah. So, what's been happening in the world since we last saw it? What's been developing with the setting?
Well, yeah, quite a lot actually. We took the game on. It was a few years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Back from Vesperon days. The setting for it itself in Carnevale, if for the people that are unaware of it, it's 1795. The entirety of Europe has been sunk beneath the waves. A great rent opened in the sky, which tore apart the heavens. And yeah, a lot of Europe sank, but Venice remained unscathed because of story reasons, which I won't spoil in the book. And it sort of stands alone now as this bastion, and it's becoming this new sort of like center of world trade. But through the rent in the sky came these sort of eldritch horrors and magic. So it's not really a great place to be, but it's the place to be.
Yeah.
Everything else is either water or volcanoes now. So, yeah, your choice.
Yeah, I think I would definitely choose Venice given that choice.
Yeah, so, in the time frame now, it's been 2 years since the rent opened, and like rival gangs have started to come up through the streets, trying to sort of vie for parts of Venice and try and take control over this new empire, like sort of stake their claim over each part of it.
We take a look here at the brief, well, we've got it laid out with a couple of the different factions fighting out through the canals of Venice. Now, we are going to talk about them further in a future video, but can you give us a quick rundown of the different factions?
Yeah, do you want to talk about some factions?
Yeah. I mean, on the table here, we've got the Guild, which is obviously, they fight in greater numbers. The more people they have in base contact, basically, the more damage they can do.
There's one of them there.
Yeah, we've also got the Gondolier, Standard Civilian, and we've got the Kappa up here, which you might not be able to see on that camera. He's up there. That's fine. We've also got the Rashar, which is some of the horrendous monsters which have appeared throughout Venice, coming from the rift in the sky, or the rent from the horrible magic.
Yeah, they're the fish people faction. I know they're Warren's particular favourite.
Oh yeah, I mean, who doesn't love big fish to eat people, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're on the receiving end of it.
Yes.
That's fine. We've also got people like the Doctors, who live on a horrible island just off of Venice.
Oh yeah, here they are.
Who have tried harnessing the power from the rent and the madness that it creates from people, and they create awful like monsters stitched together from various pieces.
Yeah, they may be one of my favourite factions. I love the Doctors.
It's pretty cool. Big leather masks and stuff, pretty scary. We've also got Strigoi, which is your standard, basically vampires led by Dracula.
Really see them that well.
I say standard. You get ones which feed on specifically Rashar, so they get like some aquatic traits.
Yeah, they sort of they take over the traits of whoever they've been eating the most of, don't they?
So
Yeah, they're quite weird. Like the memories and the mannerisms and things. So you get things like the noble Strigoi just feeds entirely on the upper classes, and is better to like infiltrate into them.
I see.
They're a bit weird.
Yeah. So they can take on many different ways to play the Strigoi, which is really cool, which I really like about them. We've also got the classic Vatican.
Yeah.
Which
just here at the front here.
Yeah. Have been angered by all this blasphemous magic that's been being harnessed by people.
Yeah, as we know, magic is from the heavens and not from anywhere else.
Of course. But obviously they're angered by this, but secretly trying to harness it for themselves and stop everyone else from using it. So they get massive religious icons and stuff.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
And we got the Gifted as well, the last one.
There's
their faction themselves. They're sort of our mercenary faction. You can hire Gifted into any other gang, but you can also use them as a gang in their own right as well. They're sort of they're individual beings that have been touched by the rent in the sky and given these sort of innate magical abilities. And they all take on completely different forms and have completely different characters and all sorts of things.
Well, there is one more that we haven't touched upon, which is
the Patricians as well. Yeah, Patricians at the top,
hanging around up,
just down under there.
Favorites, of course. How could we? Think?
I love the Patricians.
Yeah, they're my favourites too. So Patricians are they're the upper class. They're the nobles, and they're one of the reasons I really like them is that they're psychopaths.
Yeah,
really. They've gotten bored of their lavish lifestyle and decided that the only way to reach sort of the highs of pleasure they want is to go out into the streets and start murdering people. And because they write the laws, no one can really stop them.
Yeah, they're psychopaths with style.
Yes.
The best kind, right?
So as you can tell, things aren't exactly in a good place for Carnevale.
No, it's a troubling time to live in Venice, but where else are you going to be?
True enough.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about the development of this new one? Because of course, Carnevale's gone through a few editions now.
Yeah. So I said before we took it over from Vesperon Games back in the day. When we first took it over, like it was a game that a lot of the people in the offices played already. So yeah, it's one of the reasons we wanted it. Yeah. So when we got it, we played a bunch of games with more of a critical eye than before, and sort of decided what was good about it, what needed a bit of updating. And one of the things we really, really liked was that it was a very narrative game. So we sort of really sort of focused in on that, and we stripped the game basically back to all of its core elements and made sure that we've got all of the things that make it Carnevale there, and then built it up again to make it.
To keep the heart the same of what it was before. We didn't want to change it too much because obviously, what's the point of buying a game and then changing it completely?
Yeah.
So we wanted to keep it the same feel, but also just what we thought was a smoother way of playing it.
Yeah, pretty much. So we had like one thing that we really noticed when we're playing was that it's all about telling a story throughout the game.
Yeah.
But there were so many actions in the old version that whenever you wanted to do anything, there was a specific action for it. So you went, this would be really cool to run over the wall and attack someone on the way out. yeah, hang on, let me look in the book how I do that.
Yeah.
And it sort of stopped you playing the game and made you more focused on the rules. So we stripped all that down to sort of the key sort of actions that you can do. And we went from, I think it was about 35 different actions you can take to now we've got about a dozen. And you can do all the same stuff that you could before. It's just a lot easier to remember what's what.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that was one of the great things about Carnevale, was that there were so many actions you could take. So you had a lot of freedom.
yeah.
But it did mean you had to.
Yeah, you had to either remember a lot of rules or keep flicking through the
and
pages.
slow down.
Yeah. So yeah, we like I said, we stripped it all back to the basics and then decided what was best to like put back in there.
Yeah.
And we actually ended up with the game with actually more mechanics than we had before, but they all sort of follow the same sort of pattern.
Yeah.
Because one of the other things we noticed was that a lot of the characters before, probably half of the characters in each faction, broke the rules in a certain way. And again, you had to flick through the book to find out how they did that.
Yeah.
So we took that and we made very specific sort of ways of doing that, like using command points and using will points and things like that in order to do the same sort of actions, but in a lot more structured sort of way in the game. So it plays really, really easily now.
Yeah, having played a couple of games now, I think you've definitely succeeded in streamlining it, but keeping that free-flowing that free-flowing element. Of course, movement is such an important part.
It is, yeah.
It's very important for us to keep, because Carnevale is known for its movement and all the different actions you could do that were just movement specific anyway. So you want to make sure you could keep the whole free running style, and like by comboing different moves together, you can get further across the board rather than just be like, oh, I'm going to move my 4 inches and then move my 4 inches again. If you think about it, you can get further across by using the scenery.
Yeah. Talking about that, yeah, scenery is actually really important.
Well, yeah, if we take another quick look at the game, you can see it's a very scenery-heavy game.
Yeah, we like it's a bit cheesy, but we call the scenery the third player in the game.
Yeah.
So like when I said we stripped it all the way back, we stripped it back down to like the canals. Really, it was like what is this setting and how does the setting influence the game? And it's all about swimming through canals. There's sort of 3 levels of the game: swimming through the canals, running down the tight streets, and then jumping off the rooftops as well.
Yeah, it's kind of got these 3 degrees.
Yeah,
of elevation.
We really wanted an actual vertical gameplay, because there's a lot of games that sort of say they do vertical gameplay, but without any of the sort of pitfalls that come with that.
Yes,
So you can climb up like walls. I said you can run along walls, you can jump from balcony to balcony, but you can also fall. You can also fall from the rooftop down onto the streets, or hopefully, like for you, into the canal. Splash down. That is unless there's fish monsters down in the canal, in which case they're very good down there and they can come along and drown you and things like that. Yeah, you can row your gondolas around. You can drag people down into the water or out of the water if you're feeling charitable.
Yeah, it's utilising the whole 3 dimensions of it rather than just being on a flat surface.
Yeah,
So
like
that was really important.
Venice is the key part of the game. It's all about the setting. So we wanted to make a game that not just highlighted that, but celebrated it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you gone about making the game more accessible in terms of scenery?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the things that we really noticed at the start, and a lot of people, we asked for a lot of feedback from the existing Carnevale community, and they said one of the hardest things was getting people into the game, because it is a game that uses a lot of scenery. Venice is Venice.
Yeah.
it uses a lot. So we, as TTCombat, we make a lot of MDF terrain anyway. So one of the first things we did when we took over was make a whole Streets of Venice range. There's loads of MDF scenery, which is affordable, easy to put together, and details your tabletop really, really well.
If we take a look at some of this,
sure thing.
Now, all this scenery is currently available, yes?
Yeah, everything's available to buy. We've got loads of stuff coming out as well, which
isn't specifically Streets of Venice, but we have a lot more Streets of Venice stuff coming out.
Yeah, we've got loads of stuff that's being worked on. We saw some of the new things in the Kickstarter, and we've got some new things coming out since then as well.
Yeah, a lot of this is being reworked as well.
Yeah, so we made a lot of the scenery quite a while ago, back when we originally bought Carnevale. But now with the new game, there's extra things that we need to play, and there's a lot more balconies and things that we're putting on things now, because you want to climb up and jump across balconies and do a lot of leaping around. But even the MDF scenery takes a fairly long time to sort of put together and paint, that's a barrier to entry for a lot of people. So in our 2-player box game, we've got some of our cardboard scenery that we've put in there.
There we go.
There we are.
I've brightly coloured one here.
If you want to hold it under the camera here, there you go.
Oh, here we are. We've got nice cardboard scenery. It comes
different ones.
It comes flat.
So, there we go.
Yeah. So simple, easy to build terrain.
Yeah, I mean, with this terrain, you can get started with it in
We got different level ones as well. We got
4 or
small
5
ones.
minutes, and you've got all the scenery made.
Oh,
Now we're down here.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it gives you the
Yeah.
different levels that you need, and that takes seconds to put together.
Yeah, it's a great way to start the game. You also notice the actual on the board itself. We've got all these individual tiles. There are 9 of them included in the 2-player box set, and they've got canal sections on one side, and on the flip side, they're all water.
Yeah.
So if you do want to upgrade to MDF sections of canal later on, then you can flip them over, and you've got an entire water terrain like to position your games on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super easy to get into. We've got in the 2-player box set, watch Karen talking about it, we've got the miniatures in there are all one piece as well. So you just, a little bit of cleaning up, put them on the base, and they're ready to start playing. So
Perfect.
hopefully we've made it, fingers crossed, made it the easiest way to get into
Accessible
Carnevale
as
yet.
possible. To
Yeah.
make sure people can just get going. Yeah.
Sounds good. And of a few things I wanted to actually, if I can go back to the gameplay, one thing
Sure
I'm
thing.
really excited to see is magic as well.
Mm.
Magic was something I really loved how Carnevale did it. So how is it approached now? How have you changed?
So we how it was before for anyone that didn't play the old version. You got your mages, and there's certain characters that can cast magic spells in the game. But you had to go through an entire list of all the spells and choose the ones that you wanted and sort of pay for them. So we've made it a little bit simpler now, so that each individual character that's a mage has a few different disciplines, we call them, they can choose from. There are 5 disciplines in the game, and most characters have access to 2, maybe 3 if they're very, very lucky. You pick a discipline, and their mage level determines how many spells they get. They don't have to pay any extra for anything. They just pick those spells, and they also get an additional cantrip from that spell slot for free. So like a mage 2, for example, would get 2 choices out of 6 different spells, and then also a cantrip as well. So they've got loads of things to choose from, and the way that things are cast makes it a bit easier as well.
Yeah.
Everything has a different cost in will points. Will points is a like finite resource that we have in the game for our characters. Each spell costs a different number, and also has a difficulty level, which is how hard it is to cast and basically what dice roll you need to make.
Yeah, perfect. It does make for the mages to be very versatile characters.
Yeah, it
They
means
can do a
that
lot.
at the start of your game, you can, and it's in the book that you can choose your spells after you've decided your scenario and who you're playing against. So you go, oh, I'm playing against like Rashar for this one. I should probably be better at swimming, so I'll take a spell that makes me a lot faster so I can get away in case they inevitably drag me into the canal. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility in your mages as well.
Excellent. Now we've talked about how important that narrative feel of Carnevale is, both in and out of the book. One of the exciting developments of it was that you got Gav Thorpe on board to write the fiction.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
It was a big deal for us. Like, we were obviously spending a lot of time working on the backstory and everything for Carnevale, and Lewis himself did quite a bit of writing and sorting out what was going on. And then we got word that Gav Thorpe would join in, and it was sort of, everyone in the office was a bit taken aback.
Like, what? Gav Thorpe?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then Lewis worked very closely with Gav Thorpe himself.
Gav backed Rumble Slam, our previous Kickstarter game, which is how we sort of started chatting to him. He backed it, and our boss Louis, he sort of fired off an email saying, "Hi Gav, thanks very much for backing our game." And yeah, we contacted him about it. He said he's been really interested in the development of it and was really keen to work with us. So yeah, I went up to Nottingham to Warhammer World to meet with Gav, and we sat down and had like a meeting about what we wanted to put in the book, what bits he would be able to do, and what his thoughts for like the continuing story are. It was a bit surreal, really, sitting there in Warhammer World talking to Gav Thorpe, saying, "Well, Gav, I want you to write this, and I want you to write that." Talking to like New York Times best-selling author Gav Thorpe, like someone who I've grown up like reading the books of, and yeah, it was a bit surreal, but yeah, it was incredible to work with him. Like really, really great. Like bouncing ideas back and forth with legendary author.
Yes. How do you find the story has developed?
So we've
worked on that.
we've expanded a lot on sort of sub factions within the factions themselves, and given a lot more sort of backstory information as to why these people are in Venice and why they're fighting in Venice. One of the things we really wanted to do was like sort of make a proper cemented like groundstone for Venice and for Carnevale moving forwards.
Yeah.
And like the rulebook itself, it's quite a lot of pages of backstory.
Right.
Over
Yeah,
half of the book. Yeah, sure.
Show off the size of the rulebook here.
This thing is
Weightish.
it's huge. 240 pages of rulebook, and backstory lasts up until here. So over halfway through of actual backstory and information.
But it's something we're incredibly proud of, though.
It's
like the finish on it.
It's superb. My Kickstarter pledge, because of course I jumped in on the Carnevale Kickstarter for this. My pledge level arrived a few weeks ago, and I got the book out. Was immediately flicking through, picking and choosing bits of the fluff to dig into, and then I just realised that
it just keeps going. It just keeps going.
Yeah,
it's like I say, it's 240 pages of rulebook, but the actual rules themselves take up, I think it's about 18 pages, which is everything you need to know to play. And then we've got, at the end of the book, we've got 35 different scenarios, narrative-based scenarios to play through. There's 7 different campaigns that you can play, like ongoing campaigns. The campaigns, there's sort of a generic sort of one for anyone to play against anyone. It's really good for sort of more competitive like pickup games. And then there's a campaign for every single faction in there. So you can play through a campaign of the guild. So the guild, this is what the guild's doing from this time in Venice to this time in Venice. It sort of tells the story.
The stories all interlink with each other.
Yeah, they do all interlink. Yeah, there's one thing we really want to put in was a timeline of events. It starts off of, I think it's Venice is founded all the way up into 1795. Like the rent is open now. This is what's happening right now. And in the timeline, there's a lot of things in there. Like Gav and I work quite closely in the timeline, like because we sort of talked about where we want the story to go. So there's a lot of little hints within that timeline of what might happen soon or what's coming next. And there's a lot of like individual things that are sort of on this night, this happened, and you go, oh well. We had a lot of people going, well, what was that? I'm like, I'm not telling you. We might tell in the future, or it might be interesting for you to sort of say, oh, well, this is a really cool sort of idea. We'll write a campaign to sort of play through there.
That I think has always been one of the great strengths of Carnevale, when yes, it is focused very much in Venice, this small part of the world, but you do get the hints about what's happening elsewhere and these other mysterious goings on.
There's I think we got a double page spread of different parts of the world and what's happening in different parts of the world, and they're sort of like quite short stories, and there's some in the timeline as well. There's things about what's happening in Paris and what's happening in London. One of my favorite ones is in Bogota in South America, and I'm not going to say what's in it, but it's really exciting.
Oh come on, you can't just leave it there.
But like there's some of them that we've always talked that Venice is the core setting for the game, but there are other parts of the world that we might want to explore in the future, and so some of those are like, we might do this. We might do this.
Well, of course, Venice itself was very cosmopolitan.
It was. There's so many different sorts of people coming in, and so like anywhere else in the world that we go easily brings back to Venice so simply.
So we said that the Carnevale is launching now. What is out now? What is available?
So much stuff. We just made so many things.
There are so many things that have been made, and we've all been very busy back in the office with everything like product photos and stuff. But the main thing that's out is the 2-player starter set.
There it is.
Bigger than our heads.
It's a big 2-player starter set. Everything you need to play Carnevale. Obviously, the 2 factions you get in there are the Guild and the Rashar, which we obviously touched on earlier.
Yeah.
It comes with the rulebook, templates, dice, tokens,
scenery,
map. That's the thing. And we've got a couple individual models, I think, out now as well.
So we've got starter gangs for every single faction. So if you wanted, if you don't fancy the Guild or don't fancy Patrician, the Rashar, then you can go Patrician, you can go Vatican, Strigoi, the Doctors, Gifted. We got starter gangs for those, which is faction, 5 models, which comes to we have a points system in Carnevale called Ducats. Which. Sorry for my pronunciation, but it's sort of the most used coin at the time. And the starter factions contain 70 ducats worth of models. Your average size game is between 75 and 100. So just a couple of extra things, and you'll be able to make a full sort of size game for it.
Yeah, perfect.
We've got loads of other stuff. What else we got? Individual dice for all of the different factions.
All the different dices, templates, everything. You can
basically everything you need to play the game.
Everything.
A couple of individual figures. We've got the Carcaros Rashar, which is the sort of
land shark.
Land shark.
The land shark. We really like the land shark.
Yeah, we like the land shark. And the Guild have the Black Lamp, who has this magical, like, well, anti-magic lamp which dissipates sort of magic anywhere near him. Yeah, so the guild don't have too much access to magic, but if you take a black lamp, then no one else will as well. You sort of stop everyone else in their tracks.
Okay. Well, so that's what's out now. What are your plans for the future? Where are you planning to head with it?
More models, all the models. We got so many models, hundreds, like literally.
Literally hundreds.
Loads of individual characters, special characters, more henchmen, more like just everything for each faction. There's so many models coming out. Obviously, we can't tell you everything now. We're spoiling it a bit too much.
So we had in the Kickstarter, we had over 100 individual miniatures, individual characters that you could buy. Those are going to be released in waves throughout the future, but each of those waves is going to contain miniatures like that we haven't seen in the Kickstarter as well. That after the first couple of things when we release, after that it's going to be brand new things to everyone. So even if you back the Kickstarter, there's new stuff coming as well.
Yeah, it's not going to be stuff you've already seen. It's trying to keep it fresh for everyone, not just people that back the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so. And I don't know if we're allowed to talk about.
Can you give us a little hint for something?
I'll tell you one.
Oh, please, yes.
I'll tell you one. So, in the guild, there's this sub-faction called the Puccinellas.
Yes.
Their official title is the Great and Noble Cult of the End of Days. They're basically madmen who they've given up on the world, and what they really want to do is just go out partying, clubbing people in the streets.
Yeah.
They're dressed up as Pulcinella, who is this sort of jester character. Yeah. And at the moment, they've got regular Pulcinellas, a King Pulcinella who is elected each day. He's king for a day, and whatever he says for that day goes. And then afterwards, he gets beaten up for overstepping his mark. We've also got Pulcinellas riding ostriches throughout the streets.
Yes.
But a new character that we're going to be coming out with is a Pulcinella fire breather. Who really goes all in on the sort of jestery sort of route, and does it a bit more dangerously.
I like the sound. I've done fire breathing. I've been a fire dancer, so I absolutely love the sound of that on the table.
Yeah, but there's a lot more weird stuff coming. I gotta say, some really, really weird stuff. The patricians are getting weird. The doctor's getting really weird.
I don't know, like Carnevale is quite a dark game anyway.
Yeah.
When we picked it up a while back, it was quite a dark, sinister game. But I think it's safe to say it's getting darker and a bit more sinister. It's kind of cool. I like where the game's going.
We're looking at the realistically where the game would go. Like the renters opened in the sky, things have started getting a bit weird. And like we sort of sat down and went, okay, where's the logical sort of conclusion to all of this madness going to go?
Yeah,
let's get there. Let's push further.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you both very much for letting us know what's been happening with Carnevale. Before we move on with the rest of the show, you were mentioning you might like to help other people get into the game as well. So
we do.
Would you like to give away something?
Yeah, I think probably the best thing we're going to give away to help people get in is one of these sets. This massive set. I mean, it's got all of this stuff.
It's a big 2-player start.
Yeah, it's this one's really light because I took all the stuff out. I'm tiny, but I can barely lift it up.
I was going to say we should clarify it's not that one, which is empty.
Congratulations.
Have the box.
You just get the box and open it, and there's a drawing of Lewis's face.
Thanks.
We're going to throw in one of those 2-player starter sets, which contains absolutely everything that 2 players need to get into the game. We have 2 complete gangs to play with. All the scenery, the full rulebook as well. We don't do none of this cut down rulebook nonsense. The full thing in there.
Rulebook.
Perfect.
Everything.
Excellent. Okay, so if you guys want to be in with a chance of getting to grips with this absolutely fantastic game, I can't recommend it enough. Just leave a comment down below on this video, either on YouTube or on tabletop.com. In the meantime, we're going to carry on here, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later.